First of all, it's too quiet in here for our boy, so maybe some kids can scream and yell or do something because it's Shaylee, if you want to run up and down the aisles, that'd be awesome. Okay. He was a rambunctious little dude, as most of you know, and he absolutely loved the world. But it says, our boy, may your spirit soar in freedom from the fears that grip so tight. May you find the peace you searched for as you wander lost in the night. May your tortured soul, tortured mind be clear and calm, and your tender heart be warm. May you have no need for strength now. May there never be another storm. May the music of the heavens be the sweet sounds that you hear as you're watching down upon us. May you never shed another tear. Drayke, my son, we'll wear your memory proudly until we see you again. This family is not new to pain and suffering, and I'd like to take you back to Drayke's childhood. When he was first born, his heart was racing 300 beats a minute. The doctors panicked. There was chaos. Sammy and I had no idea what was going on. They rushed him out of the room and into the ICU. Later, we learned that our son had a rare defect in his heart called Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. They pumped him with adenosine at the time, slowed his heart down. He didn't have another episode, just had some oxygen issues due to some of the problems that he faced. I think he was there about 2 weeks. And just as we were getting ready to bring him home, he had another episode where his heart was racing again. And so we were pretty hesitant to bring him home. But eventually, they taught us how to correct the issue. Now, this might be a little bit of a trigger for some of you, but for Drayke to be converted, now as a young baby, we had to take him to the hospital every time he'd have an episode. So that was 2 or 3 a week. As he got a little older, Sammy was able to convert him on her own. To convert our son, she would have to take an ice pack, just big enough to fit over his mouth and his cheeks, and suffocate him for 13 seconds. This is a vagal response that would allow his heart to reset itself. Now, I have no idea how a mom would do this. I was not strong enough at the time to handle those issues, but Sammy took it on. She was our rock dealing with it. We would get one shot, and if it didn't work, we had to call the paramedics because our equipment the hospital gave us wasn't enough to check his O2 levels. So the paramedics would come and hook him up, and it just so happened we lived in Magna, and it was a training center. So all the new paramedics and new police would show up as Sammy is suffocating her son for 13 seconds. As you can imagine, that was a shock to most of them. I think they tried to arrest her a few times. If that was unsuccessful on the second attempt, the paramedics would rush Drayke to the hospital where they would pump him full of adenosine. Now, the fear of this with a young child is that the heart, once it beats so fast for so long, it would get tired and eventually just stop. And for an adult having Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, you can be resuscitated. For Drayke, there was no shot. If they couldn't correct his heart would eventually give out. And we had a few scary moments at that time where we weren't sure the adenosine would work or weren't sure we were able to get it stopped long enough, and his poor heart was getting tired. Well, the medication to help to correct this ended up causing VTAC, and VTAC is basically heart failure. And so, at the age of 2 years old, our strong boy had a heart ablation. And at the time, he was the youngest that Utah's ever seen. They don't make catheters for babies, they make catheters for adults. This isn't something that's very common. They flew specialists from all over the country to come out to help assist as this boy was ablated. Drayke also had a deformity to his ribs, where the cartilage did not connect properly to his sternum, and it connected to his internal organs. So he had a severe deformity, a hole, basically, is what we called it on the side of his ribs. So we went again, and we had another surgery to correct that. Drake got an infection, got really sick. We had several problems with the draining tube and hospital stay. And Drake was a believer that everything happens for a reason, and that nothing happens by chance or by luck. He believes that illness, love, lost moments of true greatness, and sheer stupidity all occur to test the limits of our souls. Without these great tests, life would be like a smoothly paved straight road to nowhere. Safe and comfortable, but dull and utterly pointless. So we had a rough road. It was not very smooth. But I know we were being prepared for something special. And as most of you have seen my post on Facebook, on Instagram, I was very angry that day, and I was very real with the situation that happened to my boy. But his love outweighed anything that could show hate in this world. Sometimes a person will come into your life, and you know right away that he was meant to be there, to serve some sort of purpose, to teach us a lesson, or help us figure out who we are, or who we want to become. You never know who that person may be. But once you lock eyes with those baby blues, you know at that very moment that he would affect your life in some profound way. I'm going to give some advice and share something that is utmost important to me. If you find someone that loves you the way our boy loved his family, love them back unconditionally. Not only because that person loves you, but because they are teaching you to love and open your heart and eyes to little things. Make every single day count. Appreciate everything with that person that you possibly can. For you may never experience it again. Talk together as if you've never talked before. And actually listen. Let yourself love them. Break free and set your sights high. Hold your head up and smile because the world needs it. We know this happened for a reason. Maybe our boy was just meant to save one person. That we heard an amazing story Friday night of a young woman that was very much touched by Sammy's story. We had people flying from Florida, Venezuela, Arkansas. A gentleman gave me a hug and said he just wanted to take back Drake's strength to his school, his class. The Florida woman just wanted to hug Sammy so that she could feel Drake's love for her son who was struggling with bullying and suicidal thoughts. Listen to my words now. Preach kindness. Look inside yourself. Don't look at what everyone else is doing and worry about what they're doing in their life. What are you doing to better this world? I don't care what Karen's doing, or Steve, or whatever the equivalent of a Karen is. Sorry, Steve. I actually wrote that down to get a laugh. There's just too much out there right now that we're worrying about how other people look, how they dress, how they smell, what color their skin is, what they do for a living. We need to look inside ourselves and say, what am I doing to better the world today? We are the ones that are the bullies. We are the ones that are driving this hate. And my son is laying here today to tell you that message, to tell the world that message. And it is all your responsibility in this room and those that will see this recording to tell that story and help my son to become the legacy that he deserves. This kid had so much heart. There was another story that I believe it was messaged to us or one of the cards that we got from the school of a girl there that's extraordinarily tall. As you know, my genetics don't make tall children. But Drayke, being teased for being small, teased for his crooked teeth, he did struggle with that. He did. But he also wanted others to not struggle. And this extraordinarily tall girl, who probably wasn't even that tall, but she did get teased. He would run up and tap her on the head and say, "You're so short." And she'd tap him back on the head, "And you're so tall." Children can teach us a lot about kindness, and they can teach us a lot about what we need to accomplish in our lives. I just want you all to know how much I love my son, and how much I love each and every one of you that touched my son's life or touched my life. You're all loved so much. Drayke, Andrew Hardman, I love you with all my heart, soul, and every fiber of my being. You are my boy, and you will live on through me, and you will live on through your sisters and your mom. You will forever be with us, no matter where we go. You will see through our eyes. You will feel through our fingers. You will step with our feet, and your heart will beat with ours.